What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here. I've had the iPad mini for just about 4 days. Not enough time for me to feel comfortable putting my name in a review, but plenty of time for me to share my first impressions with you, and hopefully it'll help you decide whether or not this little 7.9-inch tablet deserves a little tiny spot in your bag. Let's get started. Alright, so let me get this out of the way. I'm not gonna lie, I was extremely dubious about an iPad mini even existing. Then when Apple announced it, I was even more so about its utility. Why would I need a smaller iPad when I had a bigger one? Why would anybody want to buy a smaller iPad where for just a little bit more you can get that much larger screen on either the outgoing iPad 3, even the iPad 2, and of course now the iPad 4. However, having used the iPad mini now for 4 days, I have totally changed my tune. So let me get the negatives out of the way. The screen. It is absolutely low resolution and very obvious, and for a device that's pretty much all screen, it's even more apparent. If you're coming from any Apple product with a Retina display or an Android product with an HD screen, you are really going to notice immediately the low resness of this. Not to say that it's awful, but certainly compared to other products, especially in this segment, you look at the Kindle Fire HD, the Nexus 7, you really notice the screen. And it's something that's hard to get used to. If you're not going to go back and look at another screen, then yeah, it's going to look fine. Similar to if you're shopping for a television set, you're in a big box store, you see all the TVs up on the wall, you can really see a difference between the two, especially when they're next to each other. But once you get the TV home and put it on your wall, you don't really notice the difference. So keep that in mind. So I have, for whatever weird reason, I'm having an irrational love with the iPad mini. It's the same irrational love that I have for the Galaxy Note 2, and I can't put my finger on it. Perhaps it's because it's so tiny, I can just put my hand all the way around it and carry it with me. It feels like I've got the internet with me anywhere I want to go. I think a lot of it has to do with the little bezel on the screen. It's almost non-existent. I love the way the tablet feels in the hand. I love the lightness of it. It's perfect for sitting on the couch and flicking through pages. Now, rationally, I know that there's no difference really between the 7-inch and the regular size iPad. The weight difference isn't that big a deal, and certainly it's a little bit on the pricey side. But I still love this tablet, and I'm not sure why. The build quality is absolutely outstanding. I love the way it feels on the back when I hold it. The weight is absolutely awesome. It makes me want to read a book, which is something that I don't usually want to do on a tablet. I usually reserve that for an e-reader, a Nook, or a Kindle. Or something similar. But there is just something about this tablet. One of the great things that I like, it was a very pleasant surprise, is the typing experience. Because it's so small, it's almost like typing on a big cell phone when you hold it in portrait. You could easily type with 2 thumbs and faster than I could even on the full-size iPad. Same thing when you hold it in landscape. Since it's so small, you can easily have your thumbs go anywhere you want to go, and you could type blazingly fast. That was a very pleasant surprise. One issue that I've had with it, and another issue I guess, is trying to click small links. Because of the resolution, you gotta really do a zoom in and then click. So if you do a lot of links, I'm thinking for my example, I'm a nerd, yeah, it's like that's a surprise to you guys. I do a lot of fantasy sports. I'm doing a fantasy basketball and football team now, and I want to click on a player's name. I can't quite get there with my fat little finger. I gotta keep zooming in, something to keep in mind. Video looks great on it, even despite the resolution. And I really wish I could say why it is that I love this tablet so much, but I really do. If I was looking to get a new tablet right now, I'd be really hard-pressed to not go and pick up an iPad mini with 4G in place of an iPad 4. I could deal with the lower resolution screen. If you're not in a rush, you may want to wait a generation and see what that's going to bring. Hopeful that we'll see a Retina display, but a little bit doubtful. The only way Apple could get a Retina display on this would be to shrink the size of the current Retina display on the larger 9.7-inch iPad without having to fragment even more. Much like they took the resolution from the iPad 2 and put it on this, they have to do the same thing with the iPad 3 and the iPad 4 to put it on this size. So who knows if that's going to happen. The screen itself, and I know it's not plastic, but it feels a little plastic. When you tap around on it, it doesn't feel as high quality as the full-size iPad. But just for sitting on the couch, watching YouTube videos in bed, I'm loving this thing. I've got some traveling coming up, and the iPad's always been my travel companion. I'm bringing the iPad mini with me. I'm leaving the big guy at home. I'm finding myself using this more and more and more when I have easy access to a full-size iPad. So if you want to save a couple bucks and you want to get into the iPad world, this is going to be a great way to go. I've been testing some games on it. The performance has been really pretty solid. I'll cover that more in the full review. Of course, you get the full app selection that Apple offers. But overall, I've been really happy with this. And I was probably as dubious as anybody about the utility of a smaller iPad. Everything down to even the smart cover I really like. This thing is just very fun to use. It brought the enjoyment back to using a tablet. So I'm going to save all the rest of the impressions for a full review. I know a lot of sites go out there and bust out a full review after a day or 2 days. I'm not comfortable putting my name on a review that I haven't used for a while. So over the next week or so, I'd expect to have a full review of the iPad mini, let you guys know my full impressions. But that was my full disclaimer. I've got an irrational love affair with the iPad mini. I really haven't used the cameras much. Took a couple pictures of Lucy, and the cameras predictably are kind of sucky. But for FaceTime, it's going to be fine. You're not going to be Ansel Adams, taking pictures of waterfalls with the iPad mini. But it'll work well if you got to take a picture of something in a pinch. Or if you want to take like a sneaky picture of someone behind you, like you're just sitting there pretending that you're reading, and you're really just like, click. You can be super sneaky about it. But overall, I've been really proud and happy and impressed with the iPad mini, and I think Apple's done a very nice job. So what do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree? Is my irrational love affair with the iPad mini justified? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And of course, anything you want to see covered in the full review, hit it up in the comment section. Check us out at technobuffalo.com for the latest and greatest tech news. I am John Rettinger, and I will see you, or rather you'll see me, in the next video. Bye. We're good. Checking me out?
Yeah, man.